So for the Disto-X units, there are a few different hardware versions. So there are some different laser modules and I think some different LCD units and the different Disto units themselves. And then as far as the Disto-X boards, there are a couple different Bluetooth chips available. So with all of those different hardware combinations, you may have to install certain firmware. The boards should ship with the latest firmware. The latest firmware that's available as of early 2018 is version 2.5, and I'm sure that those will change in the future. But if you want to check what firmware and what hardware versions you have, you can again press the function key twice and this will tell you. So firmware 2.5, that's the latest version, but I'll show you how you can update that, and I recommend going to the latest version of the firmware. Version 2.5 has the ability to analyze the unit and tell what hardware is installed and configure it properly for that hardware. It also has different software features enabled, so things like triple shot check, backlight mode, and things like that are available on later versions of the firmware. So there's really no reason not to upgrade, regardless of which Disto-X unit you have, what hardware version, to always upgrade to the latest firmware. So to upgrade the firmware, you first have to have the Disto-X paired to the PocketPC through Bluetooth, and you have to have a COM port established and make sure that that's working through PocketTopo before you proceed to try to upgrade. Now what you'll need to do is download the latest firmware from the Paperless Cave survey website, and I'll include a link to that in the description. Once you've downloaded that, you can unzip the file and you'll have an updater as well as some instructions. And again, I load those onto an SD card, and you can then put that in the PocketPC, and if you navigate to here, I have Disto Update version 2.5, and I have that Disto Update v25 executable file in that folder directory. And before you run this, you need to put the Disto-X itself into upgrade mode. In order to do that, you want to turn the unit off and then turn it back on by pressing and holding the plus and minus buttons while you press the red button in the middle. So if you do that, the screen will illuminate, but it will be blank. And it's in the mode now where it can receive a firmware update. Then you go back to your PocketPC and you run this updater program. The screen will pop up and give you the option of dumping any information that's on the unit, and then the other option is to update, so just tap on update. And if you have a good Bluetooth connection, it'll say connected, and you'll see a progress bar, and it says update complete. Once the update is complete on the Disto-X, you can turn it off, and if you turn it back on, you can go again to function, hit that twice, and double check that the latest firmware has been installed.